the rumble of July begins with Jurassic World Rebirth, the first of the triple threat match. Early reviews say this movie is hot garbage. Jed, are we surprised?
No.
No. The previous movies were hot garbage, but they each made over $1 billion because dinosaurs. Everybody say it with me, dinosaurs. And even though some people are kind of down on the Downtosaurus Rex that is coming out, it's not going to change anything. I really think. Now, here we go now. But here we go. So, right now, Jurassic World's budget is 180 million. They say it's 100 million, but the marketing campaign, they say, pushes it over 300 to 400 million.
That's wild that the initial budget is only 180. I was thinking at least 250, 300 before marketing. But if it's 300 with marketing, I think it could break even, though, if that's the total. Unless they're saying that it's... because that's a lot for marketing, though. That is really a lot for marketing.
Now, they're also, I believe, saying that the... Did I delete it? Or did I put up something? Hang on a second. Here we go. Yeah. So the long range projections. Let me switch screens here. I didn't have those up there. The long range projections for Jurassic World Rebirth have it starting a little low at least this one. What I found, they're saying 5 day. This is July 4th weekend, which is a brilliant thing to do. Drop this movie on July 4th weekend. Everybody's going to have 4 or 5 day weekends starting on Wednesday. A lot of family time. 150 million domestic.
The movie that should have come out this weekend, though, is Superman.
Yeah.
Keep in the American way and do Superman. The patriotic people will love to go see a patriotic movie.
They didn't keep that in there. It's not in there.
Right, that's what I mean. So it's irrelevant now, but that could have made Superman a juggernaut if they kept the American stuff and released it on 4th of July.
So they're saying that this could have 150 million domestic, 130 to 150 million domestic. Worldwide, they don't ever predict worldwide. Worldwide would likely be at least half as high, maybe even double that, because dinosaurs. So
especially internationally, these movies traditionally do better internationally than domestically.
We're looking anywhere, if these are predicting to be, if these predictions are believable, we're looking at worldwide. Rebirth could have upwards of a 350 to $400 million opening weekend.
That's very fair. That's very fair. I think that's a conservative estimate.
Yeah, because it's and listen, it's a holiday 5-day thing, but that's just good strategy to drop it on July 4th weekend for domestic. Rest of the world, they don't give a shit. But for America,
this movie has a chance to make more in its first 2 weeks than Baby Steps makes in its entire run.
Yes, and that's the point. People are going to go see this movie, and it's going to be off to a rocket start. And if it's crossed 6 or 7 by week 2, which could very well easily cross 6 by week 2, it will make $1 billion because it will then just carry on, because it's still going to be another week and a half before Superman cuts into it. So let's go. Let me switch windows again. Let's go back to the numbers. So we are at Jurassic World first. We know it's coming out on July 2nd. Previews will probably start on July 1st. Either way. So that's happening. We know its budget. Now, here's the thing, though. With one last word on Jurassic World, just for a commentary I want to have as we talk about all these movies. With this, I'm starting to believe that even if Jurassic World crosses $1 billion, it might not make that much money.
Well, it all depends on if that 330 million is the marketing budget or the combined budget.
It says including marketing here. It says
including marketing. So its break-even point would be
8, 7, 8, somewhere around 7.
Well, no. We don't need to do the 2.5 because marketing's included. So we just need to double it. So 660, 700 is where we need to go for it. Because, that 2.5, the 0.5 is for marketing. But we have the marketing included here.
I don't believe it's 180. I think it's probably more like 200.
Yeah. So we can say 700 as a reasonable break-even point. So if it makes 400 some odd million opening weekend. It'll probably break even, but I do agree with you. Its profit margins are going to be very slim because that's an insane marketing budget. I had no idea because the marketing in it is average. Like seeing it out on the streets, I see Superman way more than I see Jurassic Park.
The Superman marketing has been insane. And we're going to talk about Superman marketing as we talk about this because that's a whole different story. Superman comes out on July 11th. They claim their production budget is $225 million, which we know is bullshit. We know it's bullshit. They want, I mean, the over here says, it says that, it's going to say that the $363 million was initially reported based on test credits, but James Gunn's a liar. We did a whole segment.
He lies constantly. Yeah, the tax filing is way more legitimate than him just saying that or the production studio releasing that. So I believe the 300 to 63 and then reshoots that we know happen. I'd say the budget is 400 pre-marketing.
It's 400.
That's my bet.
Which means with the and we don't know the marketing.
The marketing's got to be massive. I'd say 150 alone on it.
This movie needs probably 1 to 1.1 to break even.
It needs to be $1 billion movie to be called break even. Not even be called a success. It needs 1.5 to be called a success, and to justify the cinematic universe, 1.5 is what it needs to justify
this
the DCU.
Thing could bring in $700 million gross in the end, and that would be a failure because it's losing at least $300 to $400 million at that point. And that's the thing. Superman has to be a winner. It has to be a winner. But it's controversial right now. There is so much surrounding this. I showed this to Jed yesterday. He's already seen it, but you guys might not have seen this. And we have something additional now, too, that dropped today. They released a clip. They keep releasing clips. Give me back my dog! There was that.
This clip is so bad.
It's so bad. Yet I've been... The people trying to tell us, you don't understand. Superman could be angry. I'm not getting into that. You guys have heard my take on that. Alone, on stream, on Ball Busters. I've given that take multiple times now. But then this dropped yesterday. Now we're going to play this. We'll try and get through it. I didn't get hit for the other clip on stream, so I don't think I'll get hit for this. We'll try. If we do, send super chats to unbalance it, please. Now, otherwise, we might get caught. We might get claimed on this. So super chats will help us survive. Let's listen to this. Jed has seen this. I'll stop it at the appropriate points. This is Superman in the Fortress of Solitude. It's early on in the movie because look, he doesn't have battle damage yet on his suit. It's the only way I've been able to track some what's going on
and he doesn't have eye damage because his laser eyes hurt his eyes.
Yeah, apparently.
His heat vision causes physical damage.
Now, just let's listen to this and then we'll comment on this.
What is this? Crypto! What the hey, dude?
What the hey, dude?
Oh, that's just all American speak for you. That's what someone who lives in New York thinks people in Kansas talk like.
No, he's from Missouri here in this one. He's not from Kansas. He's from Missouri.
What?
Well, that's a Missouri farm. The Kent farm is a Missouri type farm, according to James Gunn. That's not a Kansan farm. When you want to hear Dermy go crazy, I mentioned this. He has a meltdown every time I mention this.
It's so important to be from Kansas, the heartland of America, the center of America.
But point is, hey, what the hey, dude? I'm immediately pulled out of this when I hear that. This is just James Gunn wrote this script. James Gunn wrote this script. This is more evidence that the dialogue is garbage in this. And Cornswallet, I am less and less impressed by his performance every time. And then remember, there's digital crypto. Digital crypto. Let's keep going.
I thought you destroyed the whole Superman robots. I thought I told you to keep an eye on him.
Superman robots.
Why would he call them that? Because isn't the name Superman given to him by humans?
Yes. At the same time, his robot attendant is called Kal-X. Not Superman robots that just keep being churned out to take care of the Fortress of Solitude. And they all have capes. Look at them. They all have capes.
That's just the fashion of Krypton.
James Gunn is so out of his depth with this. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then this dialogue here is just, to me, very weak.
We feed the canine, but he is unruly. And he realizes we are not flesh and blood and couldn't, in our heart of hearts, care less whether he lives or dies.
At this point, I could care less whether Crypto lives or dies, because he's a CGI dog. So there's this clip, and there's another follow-up one where he's trying to leave and Crypto wants to play and he doesn't want to play. Crypto is going to be nauseatingly too much in this movie.
He's going to be the real villain of the film for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And it's Crypto is going to be part of the reason this movie fails. James Gunn thinks he's going to appeal to dog owners. Jed, you are a dog owner.
I am.
You are
a dog owner.
Is this
if
melting
my
your
dog
dog
ever-
owner heart? Is this melting your dog owner heart at all?
It's pissing me off because this dog is not trained. Like, this is day one puppy mentality. A real dog owner would be able to train out a lot of this behavior. And Crypto's not supposed to be a puppy, is he?
That's a full-grown dog.
Yeah, no, it's an untrained dog, and that pisses me off. My puppy, who is 4.5 months old at this point, is better behaved than Crypto. With or without the superpowers, like on scale, you know.
So James Gunn has gambled with this movie that dog owners are going to go, "Oh, puppy," and that's going to forgive everything. He thinks he's going to get the dog reaction of dog owners, and I think with you as just an example, first example right here, I think it's going to piss off dog owners more. And then there's the sect of dog owners and Crypto fans who are saying it's not the wrong breed crew. Who are
because it's James Gunn's dog.
Exactly.
He's basing so much off of his own experiences, his own likes, like which Robin he's going to pick. It's all about him. Yep. And that's not the right perspective for a cinematic universe. That's okay for passion projects, for things that don't exist before you create them. This is an example. This isn't an example of that. Yeah. Dog owners love good boy dogs. Like, you're like, all right, that dog did good. Oh, good boy. You don't like, God damn it, stop making a fucking mess. That is not what dog owners are attracted to. If Crypto were like a good little boy, just trots up nicely and everything's spick spam in the Fortress of Solitude, that would make dog owners go, oh, he could destroy it and he did it. Oh, what a good boy. That's the perspective, or him swooping in to save the day, being a good guard dog. It's the good boy that gets the dog owner reaction, not the he's a spoiled brat who destroys everything.
Yep. I mean, perfect example. I'm not a dog owner. Everybody else can have their dogs. I just don't want a dog in my house. It is not something, I don't dislike dogs. I just don't want them in my home. Last time when we were playing Dark Tide, my dog in the class, every time he jumped and just murdered a shotgunner or a flamethrower or a sniper, I just went, good boy.
See, good boy mentality. This dog was designed to appeal to people who aren't pet owners, who have romanticized the idea of being a dog owner.
Yeah. So Crypto is going to be part of the reason I think this fails, because James Gunn thinks it's James Gunn's quirky bullshit humor. I'm going to include a quirky dog in this, and everybody's going to love me for it. No, they aren't. And then, of course, also, one part of this Superman marketing campaign, which we have talked about repeatedly and incessantly for the past several months, as it's just when one disaster after another, is in part because James Gunn can't keep his goddamn mouth shut. He makes it worse every time. Have you seen the latest blurb from James Gunn today, Jed?
The glasses?
The glasses. James Gunn confirms his Clark Kent wears hypno glasses as his disguise. The glasses have always bothered me. I don't have that much suspension of disbelief. I was sitting with Tom King, the man who ruined Batman, the man who ruined Supergirl. He said there's an answer for that in the comics. It's canon. No, it's your bullshit. Your ilk, Tom
probably
King.
Rebirth or some shit, New 52.
It's Tom King era bullshit. His generation of writing crap where they ruin shit. Hypno glasses. And that if James Gunn if he says right there, I don't have that much suspension of disbelief, you're the wrong man to be writing Superman. Because part of the understanding is that, and you know what, actually Smallville did a really good explanation that it's the glasses plus physical behavior.
It's all about the performance. Christopher Reeves is got to be the pinnacle for Clark Kent, more than even just Superman, because of the physical changes. That's what we need, is a talented actor and a talented writer. And you pointed out right there, he's the wrong person of the job because he has no suspension of disbelief. I am also like that. I think the glasses are kind of cringe unless they're paired with a great performance. And at the same time, I know that's why I would never direct Superman or write Superman. A good creator needs to be able to recognize where his weaknesses are and the type of products that he's good for. That's what I've said from the beginning. James Gunn, I think, is a talented writer and director when he's in his niche. Exactly. And he's fantastic in his niche, like Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad and his own original stuff. But when he tries to do something outside of his niche, it's a disaster like this. He should have been able to say, hey, I can't make Superman. I would make it too goofy and funny and stupid. Let's find somebody else who's better for the job. But consistently, the problem with this movie, like I said, everything's about him in the cinematic universe. His ego is his greatest enemy. James Gunn is his greatest enemy in this case because he could have created a great cinematic universe. He had a lot of input in the Infinity Saga and a lot of the big plot points and even other movies besides Guardians of the Galaxy because he wasn't directly involved in those. He could not have made Infinity War good. That movie, if it had been directed by James Gunn, would have been awful. And he still had good input on that. If he had taken that mentality to the DCU, that universe could have been fantastic. But his ego got in the way, and then his ego got in the way, and then his ego got in the way. And if fundamentally, if you can't understand how to make the glasses work without contriving some science fiction garbage, then you're the wrong person for Superman. And I'm the same way. I would try to come up with some explanation for it, and that would be why I was wrong to be the Superman writer. A good creator needs to be able to recognize that.
And you mentioned it. Christopher Reeve made Clark Kent bumbling, so that you're not doing. You understand it shies away from looking too closely. At the same time, I mentioned that Smallville had a great moment midway through the series where a future Clark is talking to a past Clark, and he's got the glasses and everything on there, and he says to him, I believe it was a conversation where it goes, "Listen, you're going to change in the coming years. You're going to have to make yourself less conspicuous. Glasses, but also behavior." The Smallville took the moment to explain that it's about being a goofball. It's about looking a little hapless. And because Clark says to future Clark, glasses, no one's going to believe that I just put on a pair of glasses and not see that I'm the superhero you're talking about. And he says, well, your behavior has something to do with it. If you're kind of very clumsy and out of step and aw shucks, people are not going to look too closely. They're going to perceive you as weak as opposed to strong as Superman. He didn't say Superman at that point, but you know what I mean. So Smallville actually took the time to do exactly what you just said. Talk about the differences of how perception is reality. Perception is truth. This is weak sauce. This is the weakest thing to do. And like I said, if you're listening to Tom King, you're in trouble. And well, they did listen to Tom King. He wrote the Supergirl movie. So there's a problem there. So we go back now to the box office.
Well, did you hear James Gunn's other comment about Lex Luthor?
No, what? I missed that one.
All right, I have it pulled up. Let me share my screen. So this is about why it's called Luthor Corp and not Lex Corp.
Oh, I did hear that. Yes, I did hear that.
So yeah, why it's called Luthor Corp and not Lex Corp. I'm a Smallville fan. Most people don't name their corporations after their first names. Also, it leaves the door open for his father in any way a part of this or his mother. So the idea of it being his first name was surrounded by his ego, I believe. I haven't read the comment, so I'm not familiar, but it was specifically his first name because A, it sounds better than Luthor Corp, and B, it's an ego trip for him, even more so than naming it after your surname would be. And BVS did try to explain it. Is that, yeah, my father founded this company and named the corporation after me. Yeah, they came up with this weird fucking explanation. Just have him found it for his own ego.
Or you go the eventual Smallville route. Lionel Luthor founds Luthor Corps, and then Lex takes it over and calls it Lex Corps as a dig at his dad.
Yeah, see, that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is just... Lex Corp, I think, sounds a lot better than Luthor Corp.
Yeah, so, but now we go back to... We've actually reviewed this in the past. Oh, God dang it. hang on. There we go. I hit the wrong tab. We've reviewed the projections for Superman, and it hasn't changed. It's still aiming right now between 90 and we'll say 90 and 135. That's significantly lower.
Is that worldwide or domestically?
Domestic.
Okay.
And here's the problem. It's already going to be competing against Jurassic World at this point. It's coming in second a week later. If Jurassic World has a lot of momentum, it will cut into this. And right now, I don't feel like the rest of the world is going to be interested in this Superman movie. I just don't. Jed, we've been covering this Superman movie for a year now. Where's the enthusiasm?
I see some stands, but that's it. The
They don't
average
count.
person that I talk to is like, oh, yeah, I guess they're making another Superman. Kind of looks goofy.
Mm-hmm. This movie has had so much baggage with its marketing, with James Gunn, who can't shut up, with its imagery and everything surrounding it. These trailers that just continually make the movie look worse and worse. The stands can cream their pants all they want. They are not the they are not the ones who are going to make the difference here. Normies are going to make the difference here. And I don't think normies are going to land on this one. And I'm saying, I'm going to stick by it. This thing pulls down in the end between 500 and 600 million because it might have a decent start. It might pull down around 200 to 300 million in opening weekend, domestic and worldwide. But I think the word of mouth of this movie will destroy it. Because I'm on the record, I'm going to say it again now. Now that we're in this, I'm going to say it again just to make sure that everybody understands where I stand on this. This movie is going to be bad. It's not going to be meh, like some people think it's going to be. It's going to be bad. It'll be a mess, a narrative mess, a production mess, a CGI mess, a writing mess. We could see the writing, a performance mess. It's going to be so bad. Word of mouth is going to sink this, and I think we might get one of those epic bad weekend holds. I like those real like a 60+% drop or something like that.
Oh, I could 100% see it. I think 500-600 mil might be a little optimistic with this opening because it could be as low as a 200 million opening weekend.
Well, about the only thing it has going for it is that it's not carrying the baggage of bad movies that came before it. Like
That's
bad,
true.
like
It has a clean slate. It doesn't. Some people will think of BVS though because multiverses and big franchise changes and stuff like that. We're fully versed in how these changes make, but this stuff confuses normies. Normies talk about it all the time. There are normies out there who can't tell the difference between DC and Marvel because they don't care, which is totally fine. So that baggage, I think, will still carry over for some of the normies. Fans like or nerds like us will be able to tell the difference, but there will be normies who go, "Hey, I watched Justice League and it sucked, or The Flash and it sucked. Why would I go watch this one?" They are not versed in that it's a clean slate. But yeah, for a lot of people, it is a clean slate, so that will help a little bit, I think.
And it's not carrying the baggage of the previous bad MCU movie, like Black Falcon Captain America did, like the Thunderbolts did, and like Baby Steps will carry. Baby Steps has all the baggage of Marvel in its trunk. And that means something. I mean, Superman doesn't have baggage, but it will create its own baggage. It already has created its own baggage to sink it. But Baby Steps is another disaster in making. Now, they don't have it listed here, but I did look it up. They're saying this thing, the budget could be as high as 225, probably more. I've said it's at least 250.
Yeah, that's with Marvel's
no way,
track record at this point.
There's no way it's 125 to 136. That's ridiculous. No effing way.
I could believe 225 before the reshoots.
Mm-hmm. And it's at least 250, between 250 and 300 with the reshoots. And then there's the marketing campaign. This thing has had a crazy marketing campaign. They are pushing it hard right now to try and convince you it's something great. And the trailer that released last week, that's the final trailer. That's it.
Oh God.
They have now nothing, no more marketing, no more fresh anything for another 25 days. So everything is out. There'll probably be bits and this and that, maybe more stupid commercials like the Little Caesars commercial, stuff like that. But here it is. This thing probably has a total with marketing budget. This thing's probably $400 million if I'm a day.
Yeah, well, it's pretty easy safe bet. I'd say the break even point is at minimum 700 million, but probably closer to 900.
Yeah. So I mean, its break even is really high, and the thing is, it's not going to make more than 550 because it's carrying that MCU baggage that people are sick and tired of, and everything that comes out surrounding this movie with the news that Sue Storm is the real leader. If the leaks that we went over a week ago on Mellow Mondays are true, at the beginning of the week, you can check it out. I reposted it as a clip. This movie sounds like a disaster. They're showing more of Silver Surfer her in clips right now.
They're bragging about that. And yeah,
Mhm.
I think Pedro is becoming box office poison. He's nowhere near Rachel Zegler bad yet, and I don't know if he will ever get to that point. But like we were talking about, I believe it was last week, what box office successful films has Pedro Pascal had as a leading man? I can't think of one. The closest one is Gladiator 2 that he was a supporting actor for and didn't that isn't a box office success.
Mhm.
So him being in this movie makes me want to make it fail, though. And I think a lot of other people are just sick and tired of him. And everything with him is making this movie worse, even if it's not related to the film. Like the whole licking the rainbow stick, the whole a bunch of dudes pawning his
Oh,
face for Vanity
yeah,
Fair.
I
All of
have
that
that.
stuff. Everything he does turns the public off from him. The whole masculinity argument about how this is what real masculinity should be, and this is what we want to strive for is Pedro Gay Pascal. And yeah, I think he's hurting the movie more than anything else at this point. And I want this movie to fail just so that Hollywood will stop sucking his dick or the other way around and realize that, yeah, maybe you shouldn't cast him in everything.
Well, first of all, he's casting everything because he's the perfect loyal thug. He'll do whatever he's told. He doesn't have any sort of real personality. He doesn't have any sort of real belief system. He does what he's told. And also, he checks boxes too. We forget that, but he checks diversity boxes. Even though he
Gay and
doesn't look
Brown.
gay and brown. Yeah. Gay brown, multicultural bullshit. This movie will fail. This movie will fail. And I think its projections are a little off because we check one's projection. This is the only one I could find on a quick search, and I don't think they're this high. I don't think it's gonna get between 125 and 136 in its opening weekend.
Worldwide, yes.
No, that's
Domestically, no way.
that's
That's
domestic.
what I mean. He said, yeah, I could believe that worldwide, not going to believe it domestically.
Domestic. I don't think. I think this thing barely cracks 100 domestic. Barely.
If that,
I'm trying not to. I'm leaving myself enough room to
that's fair.
be
Yeah.
right or wrong. I mean,
No, it's smart to be
I've made some
conservative.
serious missteps in my time predicting on some opening weekends. So I'm trying to give myself enough wiggling room. Thing is though, this thing is the end of the month now. Jurassic Park will have had its run essentially by then. And people might have had enough of going to see that. Superman will still be a little bit in contention, but then here comes Baby Steps coming in third, surrounded by essentially another, not as I would say, not as many missteps in the marketing campaign as James Gunn's Superman, but still a very disturbingly off-putting marketing campaign.
Mm-hmm. Ineffective.
Good word. Excellent word. Thank you. Ineffective marketing campaign that has done nothing to move the needle. People are not excited for this. In fact, the more they see of Pedro Pascal, the more put off they are.
And I believe there's a form of fatigue that we don't talk about a lot. There's all these discussions about superhero fatigue versus bad movie fatigue or Star Wars fatigue. And there's obviously good discussions to be had about those concepts. But one that we never talk about is box office fatigue as a concept. 3 massive movies in a row like this will make the average moviegoer get a little sick of it, with especially the costs involved. A lot of people are going to pick one movie, even if there wasn't the competition. Like Superman, like you're saying, is going to be dwindling. Jurassic Park will probably be done by that point. A lot of people will just be like, hey, I went to see Jurassic Park. Maybe I went to see Superman as well. That's enough movie-going experiences for me for the month. That's enough money that I've spent for the month. So there will be fatigue hurting Fantastic Four as well, more so than anything else, I think, at this point, with the competition. With a week between Superman and Fantastic Four, that helps a little bit, but 3 massive movies in a month, it hurts the last movie in the lineup significantly, I think.
Okay, and I just looked it up because you're talking about that, and my thought jumps to me. An average let's say an average family of 4, 2 parents, 2 kids, movie weekend, especially this coming weekend, because Jurassic Park is still going to essentially be family friendly. It's dinosaurs. Kids like dinosaurs. I was a kid. I was 12, 13 around Jurassic Park coming out. That you could take your kid to see that. Average movie ticket right now, according to a quick Google search, average movie ticket costs in America in 2025 $16.08. Probably and ranging as high as $23. And around here it's between $15 and $20 depending on where you go. Tickets. Let's say it's $16. All right. For a family of 4, you're over $50. You're over $50
before concessions.
Before concessions. Thank you. Before concessions, and you're gonna get concessions. It's a family thing. Kids are not gonna go. The kids are not going to sit there and go, no, we're happy you're not going to buy us popcorn. No, there's popcorn, there's candy, there's drinks, all overpriced. For a family of 4 to go see a movie in 2025, and let's put it into what if it's an IMAX movie? Because you gotta go see it in IMAX, and IMAX can kiss my ass. I don't give a fuck about IMAX. Gotta go see it in IMAX. That's going to cost you even more. So you're looking at let's just say Jurassic Park family of 4 next weekend. You could drop anywhere between, I would say, $100 and $150 to go to the movies. Include gas in that. Travel. Got to include gas. People don't want to include gas. It costs money to travel, depending how far away. Some people, their movie theater might be half an hour away. That's an hour back and forth. What if you went to dinner before or afterwards? You might have a night that totals around $200 to $300 in everything once all said and done.
If you're not taking all your kids, babysitter too.
Babysitter too.
It's just 3 family-friendly films to a certain degree in one month. Most people are going to pick one of them and then catch the other later.
Exactly. The reason we have talked about this from the beginning about the release schedule of these movies, Jurassic World Rebirth has a clear advantage because it's coming out first. And then 2 weeks later, Superman. Yes, people aren't going to go see, might not all go see dinosaurs. They'll go see Superman. But by the time you get to baby steps, you said it perfectly. There is going to be movie-going exhaustion, which we've talked about for months. People are going to be tired of going to the movies for these things. And you said it perfectly. All 3 of these movies are within the realm of family outings. These are all movies you can take your kids to. And if you just spent $200 on one of them, you're not going to spend another upwards of $400 to go see the other 2. Nobody in regular normie America has that kind of fungible assets to mess around with. That's just not happening. So by the time we get to baby steps, who's going to want to spend any more money on movies in July? This isn't like when I was young and a matinee was $4.95, and maybe and then going out at night, maybe and then it's up to $6, and concessions were still costly, but nowhere near what they are now.
There should be different prices for movies and the opportunity for cheaper prices, because matinees aren't shit anymore. That's like $1 or $2 difference. And not to beat a dead horse here, but Expedition 33 is $20 cheaper than the average price right now, getting close to $30 cheaper if you're looking at Mario Kart World. And it's still selling gangbusters and made so much profit. I don't believe Expedition 33 would be as successful if it were at the normal price, because it is seen as an indie game, or at least when it came out, and people aren't willing to give chances to smaller games that they don't know a whole lot about if they're full price. So the fact that it was at $50 and looked interestingly enough, I think is one of the reasons why it got so big so quickly. It was much more reasonably priced. Now, a lot of these movies need to be reasonably priced these days in order to have any sort of profit. And we're forgetting that. They're trying to make the movie theater going experience into a prestige event, into something that rich people to go to. There will be a point, I think, someday where it's obviously not going to be quite as bad, but how many people go to sports games compared to what they used to? Sports tickets are like $100 a person if you're lucky. At this point, it's cutting out the middle class and even below class. Without the middle class, movie theaters can't endure, and that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and there's just going to be there will be the audience for Baby Steps, which is who we're talking about now in this situation, is already a shrinking audience for a variety of reasons that we've listed. Among them, and I think it is actually becoming a thing now, superhero fatigue.
I 100% believe that. I've never been okay with the argument that it's just bad movie fatigue. Yes, that is a huge contributing factor. Bad movie fatigue is absolutely a gargantuan thing. But even, as we all say, with Westerns as being the big comparison to superheroes, even when Westerns were still consistently good, there were just too many Westerns out there, and people stopped caring in the 70s and 80s about Westerns, and that genre faded into a normal level of what you would expect from a genre. We were going to see this with superheroes even if they were good. I think we were starting to see that even back in 2018, 2019. The big prestige events were always going to be huge, like Endgame and Infinity War. But with these convoluted storylines, with having to do so much fucking homework, the average person was getting burnt out on the idea of superheroes. And people want variety. Variety is the spice of life is a phrase for a reason. So superhero fatigue is absolutely a thing. Now, is bad movie fatigue probably a bigger contributing factor?
Yes.
Yes, but some people still have superhero fatigue. I have superhero
and we've reached
fatigue.
that point. We've reached that point.
I 100% believe that. Like Thunderbolts, everyone told me it was actually pretty good. I had people in my life saying it's great, you need to go see it. People that I trust. And I could not give a flying fuck. Like, even if I went and watched, like, even if I could believe that it was as good as Winter Soldier, let's say hypothetically, I still wouldn't enjoy it. I still wouldn't want to go out to see it because I'm sick of superheroes. I'm not engaging in superhero media.
These aren't
right
even
now.
the superheroes you care about. I mean, I care about Superman. I don't care about the Fantastic Four. I never have in my entire life. But I am already sick and tired of what James Gunn is showing me. And I don't want to give it a chance. And that's more of my James Gunn fatigue. But generally, people are tired of superhero movies costing so much and being in your face and throwing too much at you. And the biggest fatigue carrier of them all is the MCU. And they expect you to care and know so much going on right now that you're going to carry it to doomsday, which is another disaster that we'll be talking about for the next year as we lead up to that. But here we go. So we've dropped these three major movies: Rebirth, Superman, Baby Steps. I've seen nothing in our evidence that we've seen brought down, including the Fantastic Four possible budget. I have seen nothing to change my thoughts that Rebirth wins from the sheer fact that it's positioned to win. Superman, if Superman is great, it wins because people want to cheer for Superman. But James Gunn's Superman will not be good because of James Gunn. It will fail, but it will not fail as hard as Fantastic Four because people will be exhausted by the end of July. It's going to be hot. It's going to be annoying. You're going to be getting ready to send the kids back to school. And just you have to understand the Fantastic Four are not as popular as some people want to believe they are. They're not. And you would make them popular by casting somebody better than Pedro Internet Daddy Pascal. So this movie has everything going against it, including the MCU baggage and superhero fatigue and real world fatigue of doing stuff. So it will be the worst one. My final numbers, I'm gonna lock these in now. I'm gonna lock them in. I'm gonna say that Jurassic World tops out at 1.3. I think it tops out at 1.3. I think that's where it lands. And will be hailed as a success, despite the fact that it's probably hot, steaming garbage in reality. But that won't matter. It hasn't mattered yet. Why would it? Here's the other way of saying that. It hasn't mattered yet. Why would it matter now? Why would it matter now? Superman, 500 to 650. Superman is 500 to 650 when it taps out. And Baby Steps, 450 to 550. That's my range. You wanna put a stamp on this?
I 100% agree on Superman. That's a perfect range for that. I'm less optimistic about Jurassic Park. I know it's going to be absolutely gangbusters, but the excitement for it is still less than I saw for Dominion. So I'd say 1.11 billion to 1.1 billion, I'd say,
Fair.
for the range of that. And yeah, Fantastic Four. I think it'll do a little bit better than the Thunderbolt and Black Falcon, but not that much. So I'd say 400 as the main thing for that.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade, and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.